Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into the rock band Foreigner, taking a close look at the stack of sources you've shared with us.
Right.
Our mission to kind of cut through the noise, explore their remarkable journey from formation, navigate the constant shifts in their lineup, and understand the enduring legacy that's led to some, well, pretty significant recent recognition.
That's right. We've pulled insights from sales figures, chart data, behind-the-scenes perspectives from band members, basically everything you'd need to get past just hearing the hits on the radio and really understand the band's story.
And trust us, even if you think you know Foreigner, this dive reveals a journey that's far more dynamic and, frankly, surprising than just the songs you remember.
Definitely.
So where does this story begin? New York City, 1976.
Yep, that's the spot.
You have Mick Jones, the guitarist, linking up with a really interesting mix of talent.
Yeah.
Vocalist Lou Gramm, drummer Dennis Elliott, keyboardist Al Greenwood, multi-instrumentalist Ian McDonald, who you might know from King Crimson, actually, and bassist Ed Gagliardi. So a six-piece from the get-go.
And the name itself tells you something fundamental, which is, well, pretty clever. Mick Jones, who's British,
Right.
he suggested Foreigner because he, Dennis Elliott, and Ian McDonald were from the UK, while Graham, Greenwood, and Gagliardi were American.
Ah, okay.
So literally, no matter where they played, at least half the band members were foreigners.
Huh. What a simple yet defining detail. And that wasn't even their first idea for a name, was it?
No, not at all. The sources mentioned Trigger was on their demo tape, but apparently all the record companies just said, yeah, no.
Right. Rejected.
And finding the right vocalist was another big piece of the puzzle. Mick Jones apparently audited like 40 to 50 different singers.
Wow.
Before a Black Sheep album Lou Gramm had given him years earlier kind of jogged his memory. He tracked Gramm down back in Rochester, and thankfully for rock history, they clicked.
And the connection was explosive, it seems. Their self-titled debut album, dropping in March 1977, wasn't just successful. It was like an immediate phenomenon.
Absolutely. It was the first of an incredible 6 consecutive albums to go multi-platinum and land in the U.S. top 10.
6 in a row.
Yeah. That first record alone went 5 times platinum in the U.S., spent a solid year in the top 20, and peaked at number 4. It also hit the top 10 in Canada and Australia, and even reached number 1 in Norway.
5 million U.S. copies for a debut is just wild. And it wasn't just album sales. It produced those absolute breakout hits. Feels Like the First Time and Cold as Ice. Those became instant radio staples, didn't they?
Oh, completely. And building on that momentum, just a year later, in 1978, came Double Vision.
Okay.
This album actually outsold the debut, hitting 7 million in the U.S.
Whoa.
It peaked higher, too, at number 3 in both the U.S. and Canada, and it marked their first time charting in the U.K., reaching number 32.
Another album, another wave of massive hits, Hot-Blooded, and the title track, Double Vision. They were absolutely dominating the airwaves and the charts at that point.
Totally. But by 1979, they released their third album, Head Games. Still a significant commercial success, gave us Dirty White Boy and the title track.
Right.
But the sales figures and the material show a slight dip compared to Double Vision. This album also marked, well, a turning point in terms of personnel.
Yeah, this is where we see the first big shakeup. Bassist Ed Gagliardi was replaced by Rick Wills before Head Games was recorded. And Lou Gramm, writing in his autobiography, Juke Box Hero, offers some insight here. He describes Gagliardi as a little headstrong, with ideas that weren't always compatible and sometimes obstinate, which apparently made recording sessions, well, challenging.
It comes like friction there.
Gramm also felt Head Games sounded unfinished compared to their previous work.
That's interesting.
And that leads directly into an even more fundamental shift in 1980, the departure of 2 founding members, keyboardist Al Greenwood and multi-instrumentalist Ian McDonald. Right, the King Crimson guy.
Exactly. The sources point to a few factors colliding here. Mick Jones wanted more creative control, particularly over songwriting alongside Gramm.
Okay, the core duo.
Yeah. There were also creative conflicts among the members, and as Gramm characterized it, a pretty major communication lapse.
It's really telling to hear McDonald's perspective on this later, though. He stated in 1999 that leaving wasn't his choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he loved the band, but felt Mick and Lou wanted to streamline things, make it more focused on the core duo. McDonald also felt his contributions to arrangements and, song creation were perhaps more significant than publicly acknowledged.
Interesting.
Drawing a parallel to his experience in King Crimson. That sounds like a classic case of differing visions for the band's future, I guess.
Exactly. After those departures, the core band was essentially reduced to a quartet. Jones, Gramm, Elliott, and Wills,
Right.
relying more on session musicians for recording and touring.
And ironically, this leaner core, working with super producer Robert John Mutt Lange,
Yeah, Mutt Lange, yeah.
produced what many considered their absolute peak. Their fourth album, fittingly titled Four, arrived in 1981.
Four, big one.
This was the one that finally broke them huge in the UK, hitting the top 5, and became their only #1 album in the US, staying there for an impressive 10 weeks.
10 weeks at #1, and Four was just an absolute hit machine. Urgent with that instantly recognizable Junior Walker sax solo.
Oh, yeah.
And Thomas Dolby synth, including that signature sound that opens the track.
Well,
Iconic.
obviously iconic.
Then Waiting for a Girl Like You had that incredible, almost frustrating run, spending 10 consecutive weeks at #2 in the U.S.
10 weeks at #2. What kept it off #1?
Olivia Newton-John's Physical.
Ah, right. Okay.
And of course, the anthemic Juke Box Hero. These weren't just hits. They, defined the sound of rock radio for years.
You can really hear the impact of Mutt Lange on that album, shaping their sound for that arena rock peak.
Definitely. They also brought in touring musicians like Bob Mayo and Mark Rivera to reproduce that layered sound live.
Makes sense.
And the power of those early singles was further underscored in 1982 with the release of their compilation album, Records.
Right, the greatest hits.
Yeah, and this compilation, pulling together all those monster hits from the first 4 albums, actually became their best-selling record overall, eventually certified 7x platinum in the U.S.
7 times platinum for a compilation. That just shows the strength of that initial run, doesn't it?
Absolutely, just a testament to the material. But the hits kept coming. The 1984 album, Agent Provocateur,
Sure.
delivered arguably their most enduring song, one that really transcended genres, I Want to Know What Love Is.
Ah, the big one. The power ballad.
That track was a global phenomenon. Hit #1 in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, so many other countries.
And the detail that it features Jennifer Holliday and the New Jersey Mass Choir, that adds so much to its power, its unique sound.
It really did. It had that unique sort of gospel-infused emotional resonance that set it apart. Agent Provocateur also had another major hit with That Was Yesterday, cementing that era's success.
Okay, so as they moved into the later 80s, Inside Information came out in 1987, gave us hits like Say You Will and I Don't Want to Live Without You.
Still successful, yeah.
But while successful, the sales data shows this was their first album not to reach multi-platinum status or crack the U.S. top 10. Suggests the landscape was subtly shifting, maybe.
Could be. This period also saw both Mick Jones and Lou Gramm exploring solo projects.
Ah, the solo album detour. Often a sign.
Right, which is often a sign of creative tensions or, differing directions. Gramm actually departed the band again in 1990 to form Shadow King.
Okay, so Graham's out again.
Yeah.
With him gone, Jones brought in singer Johnny Edwards for the 1991 album Unusual Heat.
Right, and the sources indicate this became their lowest-selling album up to that point, peaked much lower on the charts.
Ouch.
And we also saw other longtime members like Dennis Elliott and Rick Wills depart around this time. It seemed like the core was really sort of fragmenting.
Yeah, falling apart a bit.
Yeah.
But then, a truly unexpected event led to Lou Gramm's return in 1992.
This is wild.
Yeah, what happened? Mick Jones and Lou Gramm found themselves essentially stuck together, sequestered during the Los Angeles riots.
No way. Really?
Yeah, this intense shared experience apparently prompted a reconciliation, leading them to decide to give the partnership another go. Gramm even brought bassist Bruce Turgon with him this time.
Wow, what a dramatic backdrop for a reunion. So they capitalized on this renewed partnership.
They did, released the Very Best and Beyond compilation in 1992. It included 3 new songs and reached platinum status.
Okay, so people still wanted that sound.
Showing the appetite for that classic Jones-Gramm sound was still very much there.
However, their next studio album, Mr. Moonlight, released in '94-'95, while unfortunately it struggled commercially, fared even worse than Unusual Heat.
Okay. So the reunion magic didn't quite translate to new album sales. And adding to the challenges, Lou Gramm faced significant health issues in the late 90s.
Right, the brain tumor.
Yeah, undergoing surgery for a brain tumor in 1997. The medical aftermath, particularly the medications he took, impacted his weight and, crucially, affected his singing voice. Made performances very difficult for a period.
Yeah, that must have been incredibly tough. And this eventually led to Graham's permanent departure from the group in early 2003.
For good this time.
Seems so. Jones, reflecting on the split, again pointed to a lack of communication, feeling that trying to continue their partnership would just be, detrimental to both of them.
So here you have Mick Jones as the sole remaining founding member, still actively leading the band. That's a big shift.
It is. And in 2005, he brought in singer Kelly Hansen.
Okay, the current era, essentially.
Right. This era has seen a more stable lineup around Jones and Hansen, including long-standing members like bassist Jeff Pilson and multi-instrumentalist Tom Gimbel, though the drummer position has rotated a bit. Names like Jason Bonham and Brian Tichy playing roles over the years.
Right, Bonham played with them for a while. And this lineup released a new studio album, Can't Slow Down, in 2009.
Yep. It had hits on the adult contemporary charts, but its U.S. distribution was notable, released exclusively through Walmart.
Ah, interesting. Shows that the industry changed.
Definitely. Meanwhile, Mick Jones himself has faced recurring health issues, which have impacted his touring participation.
Yeah, we know from the sources about aortoiliac bypass surgery in 2012. And more recently, it was revealed in 2024 that he's been battling Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, that was tough news. But despite the health challenges and lineup changes, the recognition of Foreigner's massive contribution has continued. In 2013, Mick Jones and Lou Gramm were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
A major honor, acknowledging that core partnership.
Absolutely. They even performed I Want to Know What Love Is together at the ceremony with a choir, echoing the original recording.
Wow, that must have been a powerful moment bringing them back together for that.
You think so?
Sadly, we also note the passing of original members Ed Gagliardi in 2014.
Right.
And McDonald in 2022.
Yeah, losing key figures. And in recent years, particularly 2017 and 2018, we saw some special reunion performances.
Yeah.
Featuring varying combinations of classic members like Gramm, McDonald, Greenwood, Elliott, and Wills joining the current lineup on stage. These events were even captured in a release called Double Vision, Then and Now.
It's fascinating how these moments bridge the different eras. But Lou Gramm's recent public comments add another layer to this picture, don't they?
They do. In interviews in 2022 and 2024, he expressed skepticism about future reunions with the classic members, citing the deaths and Mick Jones's health as factors.
Makes sense.
He also gave his opinion on current singer Kelly Hansen, calling him a good singer, but feeling that Mick Jones has him mimic Graham's original vocals too closely. His phrase was, "Don't hang your coat on my hook."
Wow, pretty direct. The classic Gramm line, maybe.
Seems like it. Gramm also shared a story about having several unreleased songs he wrote with Jones before his 2003 departure and a desire to potentially record them.
That's interesting. Any chance of that happening?
Well, it gets complicated because the sources also mention that in a 2024 interview, he claimed to have no memory of performing with Jones or other classic members in 2017 and 2018.
Wait, really? Despite the Double Vision release?
Yeah, or even speaking with Jones since 2013.
Yeah.
Which does seem to contradict the documented reunion events.
Huh. It just shows that even within the band, there can be different perspectives or, recollections over time. Adds a layer of complexity.
For sure. Speaking of unreleased material, though, there was a cool development in August 2024, the release of a previously unheard single titled Turning Back the Time.
Oh, new old material.
Exactly. This song was originally written and demoed back in 1996 by Jones, Gramm, and co-producer Marty Fredrickson, and it features Lou Gramm's original lead vocals.
Wow.
With contributions from Jones and Fredrickson's son on drums. It's interesting that it features only these specific individuals, drawing from that particular moment.
Very cool for the fans.
Yeah.
And the band has been on what's been billed as a farewell tour since 2023, right?
Yeah, a tour that is currently potentially extending. It's important to note that Mick Jones himself has often been absent from dates on this tour due to his health issues.
Right.
Highlighting the reality of his condition and the band's current dynamic.
And, true to form for Foreigner, even the farewell tour has seen major lineup developments. It never stops.
What's the latest?
Well, recent news includes Lou Gramm rejoining as a special guest for the Latin America leg in March 2025.
Okay, Graham's back again briefly.
Then, in May 2025, Kelly Hansen announced he would be departing after the summer tour.
Hansen's leaving after almost 20 years.
Yep. Stepping into the lead vocalist role permanently will be Luis Maldonado, the rhythm guitarist who joined in 2021.
Promoting from within.
Plus, Canadian actor and singer Geordie Brown, who originated the lead in the Juke Box Hero musical, is slated to join as a special guest vocalist for Canadian Days in July 2025.
Wow. It's a band in constant motion right up to its announced final bow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the ultimate culmination of their legacy, recognized even amidst these late-stage changes, came in 2024 with their induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Finally. Long overdue for many fans.
Definitely. The inducted members are specifically named as founding members: Mick Jones, Lou Gramm, Dennis Elliott, Al Greenwood, the late Ian McDonald, the late Ed Gagliardi,
Rate the original 6.
and bassist Rick Wills, who was part of that key transition era. It's a significant nod to the key players from the band's most impactful years.
Well-deserved.
So here's where it gets really interesting. Zooming out from the timeline, what are the core takeaways from this deep dive into Foreigner?
Okay, let's break it down.
First, the sheer scale of their success. Over 80 million records sold worldwide, 38 million in the U.S. alone. That level of sustained global impact is just remarkable.
Absolutely massive. Second, the engine driving so much of that success was that dynamic, sometimes, fractious, but undeniably brilliant songwriting partnership between Mick Jones and Lou Gramm.
Yeah, that chemistry, even with the conflicts.
Their collaboration created hits that have truly stood the test of time.
Third, that unique origin story, literally built into their name, the mix of British and American talent.
Yeah, the Foreigners concept
Was fundamental to their identity right from the start.
Fourth, the constant evolution of the lineup, centered around Mick Jones's vision and leadership, is just a defining characteristic. The band has been a vehicle that adapted and shifted dramatically over the decades. You can't talk about Foreigner without talking about the changes.
So true. And finally, despite all those changes, internal conflicts and health issues, the recent wave of recognition, the Hall of Fame induction, the farewell tour, bringing back different eras, it underscores the enduring power of their music and the loyalty of the fans.
It's a story that really shows how a band's identity can be complex, tied to founding members, iconic vocalists, hit songs, and the musicians who carry the torch, constantly evolving.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Foreigner's journey isn't just a list of albums and hits. It's a complex narrative of creative synergy, ambition, personal challenges, and constant transformation.
Yeah.
They sold millions upon millions, wrote songs that are woven into the fabric of classic rock, navigated endless personnel shifts, and recently received one of music's highest honors. This deep dive reveals that the story behind the music is as layered as the hits themselves.
It really makes you think about what makes a band endure. Is it the people, the songs, the name, or maybe something else entirely?
Which leads us to a provocative thought to leave you with. Given Foreigner's history of numerous lineup changes, the extended periods where Mick Jones was the only original member, and his recent absence from the stage due to health.
Right, and now Kelly Hansen leaving too.
Culminating in a farewell tour with a constantly shifting lineup, what does it fundamentally mean to be Foreigner today? Is it the founder's vision, the power of those classic songs, or the current musicians keeping the music alive?
That's a really good question.
It's a question that maybe only the deep dive into their history can help you start to answer.